Welcome back. House Speaker Mike Johnson sending his House colleagues home early for the 4th of July recess after Republican hardliners blocked floor activity. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has long pressed leadership to attach the Save America Act to other bills so the measure would pass in the Senate. The Congresswoman joined me last Sunday and told me what she was about to do. Watch. Look, I know that you already passed the Save America Act out of the House, but it seems the Senate is just unwilling to take this on. What is the problem with the Senate, and why are they so unwilling or unable to extend and execute President Trump's agenda?
Look, you heard J.D. Vance say it best. It is a defeatist perspective to say, well, the votes aren't there, so we're not going to try. But it's equally the fault of the House. And I actually just messaged the Speaker and I said, look, we can't allow them to put a Senate bill on the floor that they're going to use in their re-elections without attaching the Save America Act to it. And I know that the president has been very vocal about this. And I do hope that if it does pass, we're going to try to stop it. We're going to try to attach the Save America to it. But he should actually veto it, because the fact is that they're not doing their job. They are literally slapping the American people in the face. And this is an 80-20 issue. You want to talk about election integrity. You want to talk about national security. This is the one thing that we could do and deliver for the American people that is bipartisan and would help guarantee and secure elections in the future.
Here comes the early cue.
Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So can you tell us what happened with yesterday's failed rule vote and the early departure?
Well, first of all, let me say fantastic show this morning, and those of us in Staten Island and Southern Brooklyn are very proud that you're a product of our congressional district. And yesterday what happened was very unfortunate. We saw a group of individuals who shut down the floor, and it's very unfortunate that this handful of individuals are blocking important pieces of legislation from getting out of the House. Remember, we are trying to deal right now with defense authorization. We're trying to pass a package of 60 bills that will support our veterans. We need to reauthorize FISA. We have a number of appropriation bills that need to pass so we can send them to the Senate, because we need to fund the government by September 30th. There's so much work for us to do, and these individuals keep shutting down the floor over the Save America Act, which we all support. We voted for multiple times. But the definition of insanity, Maria, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. If we're not going to pass the Save America Act in the Senate, let's send them a clean voter ID bill, and let's see what they do then, because they're complaining about different aspects of the Save America Act. I would say let's send them that clean voter ID bill. But I also want to assure people that work is continuing here in Washington. Our committee, House Ways and Means, we will be taking up 7 bills today, including one of mine that is a taxpayer protection act that it actually protects the taxpayers from fraudulent ghost preparers. And so the work does continue, but we can't get these bills out of the House if they keep shutting down the floor each and every week.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. But what realistically can get done? You only have, what, a couple of weeks, right? I mean, when you get back from the July 4th recess, how many, legislative days do you have left? And going into the midterms, how important is it for you to get more done so that you don't lose the majority?
Yeah, look, when we come back, we're going to have 2 weeks, and we've been set back significantly. I think President Trump needs to go to his Truth Social and call out these members who vote against the rule each week, ensuring that we cannot take up these important bills that I just mentioned. This is unacceptable, and who needs Democrats as opponents when you have your own within your party shutting down the Trump agenda and the Republican agenda from moving forward? And that goes the same for the handful of senators on the Senate side that refuse to take up the Save America Act and ensure that we do have voter ID. I just think, look, we've done so many good things. Let's focus on that, and we're going to need to focus on that, whether, it's the tax cuts that were really incredible, and we're seeing the benefits of that right now for working Americans and senior citizens and middle-class families and businesses. And we've also secured the border, and we've deported criminals. We need to focus on those wins going into November. We could add a lot more if we can vote on these important pieces of legislation I mentioned.
Well, Congresswoman, I'm with Dick Grasso this morning. Of course, he has had an incredible career, having been the former chairman and CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, also a Queens boy. Dick, you want to jump in and ask the Congresswoman anything?
Congressman, good morning, and congratulations on staying the course of what's so important. Two questions for you. Your party is going to Texas for a pre-election convention. I would hope, and I know you're a great advocate of this, that you come out of that convention with a clear message to the American electorate that it's about affordability. That's what basically elected this mayor in New York City. And if you turn back the pages of history, it's what elected a young governor from Arkansas when he said it's the economy, stupid. It's now about affordability and the American dream. And I would hope, take away the labels and get to the substance and come back with a platform that says to mom and pop, we're going to put food on the table. We're going to put your rent, in a safe place. We're going to give you gas for your tank at a reasonable price. But most importantly, Congresswoman, what are we going to do here in New York? I'm a native New Yorker, been a Floridian for the last 7 years. It breaks my heart to see what's happening. Who is our next mayor, if not you?
Well, maybe Maria wants to run. I think that would be a good one. Look, I already ran for mayor, as you know, in 2017. It didn't work out as I wanted it to. But I do believe that we as a party need to find a candidate, but we also need the business community and the public community and everyone in New York City to band together and support that individual. Running for mayor was very difficult. You got to have the resources to get out your message. And unfortunately, I didn't have that. And candidates that run as Republicans in New York City often don't get that type of support because people kind of throw in the towel and say a Republican can never win in New York City. I disagree with that sentiment. We saw it happen with Rudy Giuliani. The city had to hit rock bottom. We are in a very dangerous place with a mayor who wants to and is bringing socialism. We're seeing what's happening with the rent freeze that is crushing the landlords. We're seeing property taxes increase to the point where the city's unaffordable and it's driving people out. What people need to understand, or what we understand, is that socialism actually makes everything more expensive. When somebody has to pay for it, it puts pressure on the taxpayer, and therefore it will make the city more unaffordable. Exactly the opposite thing he promised. Now, on the federal side, what I'll say is driving down the cost is exactly what President Trump and Republicans are aiming to do. We passed an amazing housing bill that will increase housing stock, make loan access more accessible for first-time homeowners and homeowners in general. And we are addressing the issues of allowing people to keep more of their hard-earned money. Tipped workers, they were able to get a deduction of, on average, $7,000 as a result of the Working Families Tax Package. Seniors, thousands of dollars in savings and what they've paid in Social Security taxes returned to them. The president also, let's remember, brought down gas prices down to $3. And we will go back down to $3 once we address some of these issues with Iran. We're already seeing that come down significantly. And then we passed a good farm bill that will address the issue of food security and bringing down those prices as well.
All right, Congresswoman, we're going to be watching your work. We so appreciate you joining us this morning. No to mayor. I got to say no to mayor. I'm sorry. Nicole Malliotakis.
Nicole, 29.
Mayor Maria.
Nicole Malliotakis, great to see. All right. The U.S., good to see you. Thank you, Congresswoman. The U.S. remains the leader in global pharmaceutical innovation. Pfizer's chairman and CEO Albert Bourla is with me next on the company working to maintain that position. You're watching Mornings with Maria, celebrating America 250, live from the New York Stock Exchange.